Good morning, beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. I hope that all is well in your world and this day become a very, very successful day for you and all of your wonderful, wonderful black loved ones. And please stay healthy and stay safe. Stay healthy and stay safe, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. In the era of Trump, right here on this plantation called America, it is not easy to find joy in times of crisis and chaos. When you are black, like me, it is not easy to find joy when we are in the midst of a crisis, multiple crises. We are in the midst of chaos. For some folks, it is a time to shed tears. For some folks, in times of chaos and terror, it is easy to shed tears. And from my perspective, that seems quite normal. That seems to be good anticipation. But still, in some way, to me, it feels very strange, very, very strange to shed tears in times of chaos and terror. For a black man like me, who loves to talk like me, I am keenly aware of the system of racism right here on this plantation called America. It began at the inception of this country. This country was created to oppress black folks, people that look like me. Therefore, to be shedding tears seems like a luxury because moments of catharsis indicate finality. And we are not done yet. We are not done yet. So discard the catharsis and keep pushing forward. History has taught us that if black folks do not fight, we will die. History has taught us, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters, if we do not fight, we will die. So take a moment to mourn the lives of black human beings who have fallen to the civilian and the state-sanctioned police violence. Take a moment to mourn those folks, to think about those folks, those black human beings that have fallen, been killed, been publicly lynched, been murdered by white racist civilians and state-sanctioned white cops that has been given a license to kill us. And in addition to that, the pandemic has ravaged black communities all across America. While my comrades are in the streets fighting for justice, while I'm sitting in the comfort of my office, talking, creating, seems wrong to me. I am in the privacy of my home, and I have stepped away from the onslaught of troubling images on television, on my social media feeds, just for a moment. And I would say to that, reprieve, R-E-P-R-I-E-V-E, R-E-P-R-I-E-V-E, reprieve, be damned. Almost as soon as I get off the phone, I found myself turning on MSNBC on the television. And at that moment, I was introduced to a story of a young black Texas man. His name is Tye, T-Y-E, Anders, A-N-D-E-R-S. A young black Texas man named Tye Anders. It occurred in mid-May of this year. The 21-year-old black man who allegedly ran a stop sign. He allegedly ran a stop sign. Found himself surrounded by 5 white racist cops with guns pointed at him. He was surrounded while sitting on a car parked in his grandmother's driveway. 5 white racist cops, sanctioned by the state, given a license to kill. Guns pointed at this young 21-year-old. And he had allegedly ran a stop sign. At the command of these 5 racist bastards with guns pointed at the 21-year-old black man, Mr. Anders got off the vehicle, knelt to the ground, and laid down. His grandmother hobbled out of her home and stood in the middle of the confrontation. This 90-year-old black woman who walked with a cane later lost her balance and fell on top of her grandson. And at that very moment, the tears from my eyes began to flow. At that very moment, the tears in my eyes began to flow. I could not understand why the body cam footage struck a nerve. After all, Mr. Ty Anders' fate would be unlike that of George Floyd, unlike that of Breonna Taylor, unlike that of Ahmaud Arbery, unlike that of Tony McDade, and countless other black folks. Mr. Anders was lucky. He's still alive today. But the sting, S-T-I-N-G, is still there. Perhaps it was the absurdity, the absolute idiotic absurdity of seeing a group of racist white cops with guns drawn surrounding Mr. Anders due to a minor traffic offense. Though we know that Sandra Bland, remember that name, who died in her jail cell, initially pulled over by police due to a minor traffic violation. It was failure to signal when she was making a left turn. And maybe it was the sight of that black grandmother that brought those tears to my eyes, who at 90 years old put herself in danger to protect her grandson. She reminded me of my grandmother, who often diffused situations before her passing. Or it could have been the sight of a black man setting aside his dignity and kneeling to the ground to prove to the white racist cops that he was not a threat and thus worthy to live another day. That part of me credits the emotions to black trauma overload. I believe that the tears from my eyes that day was due to black trauma overload. There's only so much pain one can witness. I have awakened from a self-induced coma of numbness. And this was the viral video that broke this black man's back. After the breakdown, I reminded myself that despite the pain of witnessing racism manifested in white folks as terror, domestic terrorists regarding black folks, still I cannot live in a state of sorrow. In the midst of the crisis, I decided to look for black joy. As human beings, especially those descendants of the only 100% humans, black folks, that originated on the continent of Africa. As being one of those descendants, I argue that our true essence is joy. Our true essence is joy. Some are so overtaken, some of us are so overtaken by hatred that within them, white folks, joy no longer exists. White folks are so overtaken by hatred of black folks within them until joy no longer exists in them, in those white folks. A life without joy is a miserable life. A life without joy is a miserable life. As elusive as that term may appear, black joy is exactly what it seems. In the diaspora, all across the diaspora, black folks are experiencing joy. From the mundane, mundane, to the extraordinary. Every day, black folks, people that look like me, all across this diaspora, black folks are experiencing joy. From the mundane to the extraordinary. This idea of black joy is nothing new. It is nothing new. If you read a book, I believe it is entitled Blackness, African American Cybercultures. And I believe it is written by Professor Andre Brock, B-R-O-C-K. Andre Brock. He explores black joy in cyberspace. I believe it is a digital book, and it is entitled Blackness, African Americans, Cyber Culture. When you center black joy, it does not quell, it does not stop white fears, white fragility, nor white rage. White folks have all of those anxieties. Black joy is for the sanctity of black folks. Make no mistake about it. Black joy is for the sanctity of black folks. We are rightfully enraged most of the time. Black folks, people that look like me, that live on this plantation called America, are in a rage all of the time for survival. To survive, we must be in a rage. Black joy serves as self-preservation for black folks. Black joy serves as self-preservation for black folks. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Keep your black joy. Protect your black joy. Every day, I remind myself of my black joy, of our black joy. You watch black children as they chase each other, play with each other, playing football, basketball, hopscotch, or whatever they are doing. They are finding black joy in the midst of crisis and chaos. Black joy will exist freely. It exists freely, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. I now realize that the freedom of black joy allows me the space to cry. I now realize that the freedom of black joy allows me the space to cry. And even scream sometimes in my own space, in my own home, alone. At the sight of another black person being threatened by these racist, licensed to kill white cops, it means that I have the luxury of releasing grief in order to create space for an emotion like tranquility to live within me. Maintain your black joy. Find your black joy in the midst of crisis and chaos, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Black joy also exists on the battlefield. Listening to the echoes of call and response chants that are rooted in African oral, O-R-A-L, tradition, evokes the spirit of our ancestors. It brings me black joy to know that our ancestors walked with us today. Black joy exists in the realization that generations of past, P-A-S-T, black freedom fighters and truth tellers loved us so much that they sacrificed their lives so that we could fight today in June of 2020. You see, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters, black joy and resistance exists as a symbol. It is symbolic. It is innate in us. And without either resistance or black joy, we would not survive, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Find your black joy. Cherish your black joy. Use your black joy as a self-preservation tool to survive right here in the midst of chaos, terror, crisis, right here on this plantation called America. That's what I have on this one. Please go to the Thrasher Way www.libsyn.com. There you will have access to all that I do. Talk to you again on another one real soon.